I'm out in the field. I've been studying this pack of gray wolves now for quite a while, and it's really exciting. I'm camping, I'm following their movements, and what I'm basically doing first and foremost is habituating them. And what that means is that I'm getting them comfortable with me. A lot of scientists run into problems when they're studying gray wolves because gray wolves are really skittish. They're really afraid of man. And they're running in the other direction, and researchers are not getting a lot of good information about what's going on with them. So what I've been doing is habituating them. I'm getting them used to me. They're starting to trust me more. They're starting to behave normally even when I'm around, and that's the kind of information I want to see. I want to see their interactions and how they behave. It's important to know their pack structure. In every pack of gray wolves, there's an alpha pair. There's a male and a female that are the leaders. Then there's mid-ranking individuals, and then there's always an omega. And in this pack, I've been able to figure out who's the alpha, who's the omega. I've even given them names, which helps me in my research. And I spend all day basically getting close to them and recording what they're doing. A lot of times I'm recording their body language, which can say a lot about what's going on with their mood. They're really expressive with their ears, with their eyes, with their muzzles, with their hackles, with their tail position. It says a lot about what's going on with them and what's going on within the pack. And I just follow them around and record everything I see, and hopefully doing some good for science. When I get everything compiled, it should really add to the collective knowledge of gray wolves, and then hopefully we can do more to protect them. People are interested in why wolves howl, and in fact scientists are pretty interested in it too. Scientists believe there are a couple reasons why wolves howl, but they're not exactly sure. One of the theories why wolves howl is to declare their territory. When the rival packs are in the area of each other, they'll often howl to let each other know that the other one is around. And something that happens that's really interesting when that occurs is that wolves will howl at varying pitches and varying tones. And they'll do this to try to fool the other pack into believing that perhaps they're a bigger pack than they actually are. If they succeed, the other pack will run away scared, assuming that they're outnumbered. So that's one of the interesting things that wolves do when howling. Another interesting fact is that howls can reach up to 10 miles in certain weather conditions. But if the weather's not right, if it's rainy or windy, you'll find that wolves won't even bother howling. So one of the simplest ways to tell what's going on within the pack is to study their tail position. Tail position can tell you a lot about particular wolf's rank and his status within the pack, but it can also tell you a lot about two wolves and who is dominant over the other one as they meet each other. And scientists have come up with a way to describe tail positions. They've actually labeled 5 different tail positions, and that's one of the ways that researchers describe what's going on in easy ways when they're recording behavioral information. And of the 5 tail positions, the most dominant tail position is called T1. And that's usually reserved for the alpha male or the alpha female. And the T1 tail position is when the tail sticks straight up in the air. Now the T2 position, that's for usually a high-ranking individual, but not the alpha. The T2 position is when the tail goes straight off of the body, parallel to the ground. A lot of times you'll see a high-ranking individual carry his tail like that around a lower-ranking individual. Now a T3, you'll see that one a lot because a T3 represents a neutral state, basically. When you see a pack of happy wolves, a lot of times everybody has a T3. And a T3 is when the tail just hangs straight down from the body in a relaxed way. A T3 can also show some status over lower ranking individuals. Now, this is where it gets a little complicated. The T3.5. The T3.5 is when the tail is down from the body but tucked slightly in around the back legs. That usually indicates a wolf that is slightly submissive. He may be just submissive at that particular moment, or it might be a low-ranking individual that always carries his tail like that. Now, a very submissive wolf is going to have a T4 tail position. And a T4 is when the tail is tucked between the legs and actually touching the belly of that particular wolf. When a wolf has a T4, it's probably also kind of kneeling on the ground and showing other submissive signals. That's usually reserved for an Omega, or maybe a wolf that's gotten into some trouble with a higher ranking wolf. So, as a visitor, you can easily watch these tail positions and really kind of get a good idea about what's going on within the pack dynamic just by taking a look at their tails. Tundra is our alpha male, and he looks an awful lot like his brother, who happens to be the beta male. He's large, gray, mostly white, and look for a really high tail carriage. That's the T1 tail position that indicates an alpha and a leader. Tundra happens to be a brilliant alpha male. He is gentle and fair and doesn't cause a lot of trouble within the group. He's often with a worried expression and does a lot of patrolling, as a good alpha leader should do. Junior is actually a female, and she's our alpha female. She's a dark steely gray, and she's a bit of a goofball. She's kind of the joker of the group, and because she's the alpha female and has high status, she usually stays out of trouble. Cheyenne is our beta male. He's large, light gray, and looks a lot like the alpha male. Look for Cheyenne to carry a T2 tail position, which comes straight off of his body. Cheyenne is a gentle soul. He's quiet, tries to stay out of trouble, but usually supports his brother, the alpha, in any scuffles that they might endure. Odin is what we call a mid-ranking male. He's kind of in the middle of the pack, and actually Odin's not real happy about that. Odin is often seen making a little bit of trouble, usually giving Cheyenne most of the trouble, and they sometimes get into what we call ritualized bluffing. They pose, threaten each other, and at the end of the day, Cheyenne wins and Odin stays exactly where he's at, which is a mid-ranking male. Heron is our Omega male, and that means he's the lowest ranking member of the pack. Heron is actually also the biggest male. He's white and very large and easy to spot. But just because he's big does not mean he's bad. He has a very sweet and submissive temperament and does well as the Omega. Willow is our pack's Omega female. She's often easy to spot. She's the smallest pack member, and she's light gray. She has a very sweet and curious temperament, and she's also the mother of most of the other pack members.